are teams already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets. There are some teams, the league is afraid that there are some teams' games where you could get into the playoff game for $6. That is how low some of these ratings might be and how low some of these ticket prices might be. Let's get into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification. Let's go. WNBA is in a frenzy.
How is it possible that a playoff ticket, not just any ticket, but the ticket to the biggest stage of the season, the ultimate do-or-die battles, costs less than a fast food combo meal? We're talking $6, $9, $12. Numbers so absurdly low that you don't even need to check your bank account. You could literally dig between your car seats, gather some coins, and walk into a professional playoff game. Think about that for a second. The playoffs are supposed to be sacred. The moment where the pressure is highest, where tickets usually skyrocket because every possession matters. The stage where legends are made, and where fans are willing to pay a premium just to be part of history. In every major sport, playoff games are supposed to feel untouchable, exclusive, and unforgettable. But not here. Not in Indiana. Not without Caitlin Clark. Because here's the twist. These bargain bin prices aren't some feel-good story about accessibility. They're not a win for fans. They're a massive, blinking warning sign. They're proof that the WNBA, the league that has spent the entire year selling the idea of a new golden era, is now staring directly at its most uncomfortable truth. Without Caitlin Clark on the court, the magic disappears. The momentum collapses. And those $6 tickets? They're the loudest alarm bell yet.
The WNBA is in a panic right now. The WNBA higher-ups are panicking. They don't know what's going to happen. I already let y'all know. I showed y'all the numbers that they was concerned about the playoff ratings and what they will be for the networks. They're concerned about it already. No Caitlin Clark here to carry everybody. They don't know how these numbers are going to look. Tickets are they're already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets. There are teams already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets.
Picture this. Indiana Fever playoff basketball. The stage that should feel like thunder, packed crowds, deafening noise, and the kind of atmosphere that makes every fan believe they're witnessing something historic. Playoff basketball isn't just another game. It's supposed to be the pinnacle, the reward for a grueling season. And yet, instead of electricity, there's apathy. Instead of scarcity, there's desperation. A franchise that was selling out arenas just weeks ago, forcing opponents to move to bigger stadiums, is suddenly practically giving tickets away. $9, $12, in some cases, $6. That's not just cheap. That's insulting. That's the kind of number you expect for a Tuesday night high school scrimmage with parents in the bleachers. That's what you pay for a minor league baseball game when you want something to do on a summer night. It's not what you expect from the professional playoffs of a league that has been bragging about record-breaking growth. And it gets even more shocking when you realize it's not just the nosebleeds. The cheap seats are one thing, but the crown jewels, the courtside experience, the place where you're so close to the action you can hear the trash talk and feel the sweat, are going for $200. $200 for playoff courtside. Now, on the surface, that might sound like a lot. But put it next to reality. Just a few months ago, those same courtside seats with Caitlin Clark on the floor were selling for $4,000. $4,000. The drop-off isn't just dramatic, it's catastrophic. This isn't a good deal. This isn't a fan-friendly price. It's the financial equivalent of a flashing red light on the dashboard. It's the kind of collapse that makes you stop and ask, if the value of a ticket can evaporate this quickly, what does that say about the foundation of the entire league? Because here's the thing, those cheap tickets are only the surface. What they really reveal is much darker, and it goes far beyond Indiana.
$9. This is the cheapest it's been to get into an Indiana Fever game all year. This is actually the cheapest it's been. Look, I still think it's going to be nearly a sellout, because I'm sorry, if I lived anywhere near Indiana, if it was 10 quid, I'd go to the game. I'd go to the game. I'd absolutely go to the game. I don't care. I'll pay $10. It's cheaper to be in the arena watching the game than it is to sit at home. Probably more expensive than it would cost to go to watch call it, to pay for one game on Fever Direct, I'd say, if that's a thing.
Because just a few months earlier, it was the complete opposite. With Clark healthy, Indiana Fever games were a spectacle. They weren't just selling out their home arena, they were forcing opponents to upgrade to bigger venues. When the Fever visited Washington, the Mystics had to abandon their cozy 4,200-seat gym and move into a 14,000-seat arena just to handle demand. When they played Chicago, the Sky moved the matchup to the United Center, where more than 20,000 people showed up. That's the Caitlin Clark effect. She wasn't just selling tickets. She was rewriting what women's basketball looked like on a national stage. Her first playoff game last year drew 1.8 million viewers, more than every other WNBA playoff game that day combined. She was a one-woman movement. And as soon as she went down with a groin injury this year, that movement stopped dead in its tracks. And what happened next was even more brutal than anyone could have predicted. The numbers don't lie. The second Clark wasn't playing, television ratings fell off a cliff. When she missed 5 games earlier this season, WNBA viewership plummeted 55%. Games that were reliably pulling in 1 million people suddenly struggled to reach 350,000. Even the All-Star game, where Clark was supposed to be a team captain, saw a 36% drop the moment she couldn't participate. It's like showing up to a concert and realizing the headliner isn't coming. You look around and suddenly, no one really cares about the opening acts. And if fans are bailing on TV broadcasts, they're definitely not rushing to buy tickets. Which is exactly why we're seeing playoff seats priced like a Tuesday night pizza deal. But ticket prices and TV ratings are only part of the story. The financial stakes reach far beyond the box office.
NBA is in a frenzy right now. The cash cow is not available to play. The golden goose is not available right now. That is Caitlin Clark. So now everyone has to get their numbers on their own. We saw Caitlin Clark bring in a whopping 1.8 million viewers for her first playoff game versus the Connecticut Sun last season. That was more than all of the other playoff games that was played that day combined. More than all of the other playoff games played that day combined. WNBA
last year, the cheapest ticket available to see the Indiana Fever at the Connecticut Sun in the first round of the 2024 WNBA playoffs, $133. Let's just say it's not near that expensive this year. It's not. So right there, Indiana Fever just had Caitlin Clark cut a WWE promo. I'm waiting for CM Punk to run out of the tunnel. There's Mr. Punk right there.
Think about it. When Caitlin Clark was on the court, Fever tickets cost anywhere from $60 to thousands of dollars. Scalpers were flipping them like rare collectibles. Merch was flying off the shelves. Now, fans can find playoff seats with literal pocket change. And if people aren't buying tickets, they're not buying concessions, parking, or merchandise. That hits teams, arenas, and the league itself. Sponsors notice. Networks notice. Investors notice. The WNBA's entire business model has quietly become dependent on one player. Without Clark, all the momentum, all the headlines about sellouts and record ratings vanish overnight. It's the golden goose problem. When you build everything around one superstar, what happens when the goose can't lay eggs? And here's where it gets even scarier for the league's long-term future. The league has tried to push a narrative. It's not just Caitlin Clark. We have plenty of stars. And yes, players like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell are incredibly talented. They absolutely deserve recognition. But the market doesn't lie. Fans connect with players, not abstract concepts of competition. Clark generates nearly 27% of the league's entire economic activity. That's unheard of in professional sports. When she's out, people don't just lose interest in Indiana Fever games. They lose interest in the league as a whole. So while the WNBA can promote its other stars, the harsh reality is this. Fans have already cast their vote with their wallets. And their vote says Caitlin Clark is the show. And just as the league was preparing to cash in on its biggest expansion yet, disaster struck at the worst possible time.
The last time the Indiana Fever posted a video of Caitlin Clark talking was almost a month ago. But they know who they need to post when it's time to sell tickets. Damn! Putting CC front and center only when it's time to sell tickets. Oh boy. Oh boy. And we're talking about the tickets, folks. Don't hit the Don't hate the player, hate the game. I'm just a lonely messenger. That's it. Look at these ticket prices. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Look at these ticket prices. $13, $12, $55 for section 100, $27, $147 for section 5, $55 for section 19, $330 for courtside seats. Oh,
The
snap.
timing of Clark's injury couldn't be crueler. The WNBA is in the middle of a massive expansion phase. They're adding new teams. They've signed an 11-year, $2.2 billion media rights deal set to begin in 2026. Salaries are going up. Corporate sponsorships are pouring in. Everything was lining up for the league to finally break into the mainstream conversation. And then, the one player responsible for so much of that momentum, the face plastered on billboards, the headline maker on ESPN, the magnet for casual fans, went down. It's like a restaurant finally winning its first Michelin star, only for the head chef to call in sick on opening night. The infrastructure was ready. The hype was real. But the one thing that made it all work suddenly wasn't there. So what does this say about the WNBA's future? It says the league is playing a dangerous game. Because no matter how talented Clark is, no sport can survive on one star alone. The NBA didn't collapse when Michael Jordan retired. The NFL didn't fold without Tom Brady. Major League Baseball survived without Derek Jeter. But right now, the WNBA feels tied at the hip to one 23-year-old point guard who's battling injury after injury. The harsh truth? If the WNBA doesn't build multiple stars and storylines that can carry weight, Clark's absences won't just cause short-term dips. They'll turn into long-term cracks in the foundation. Empty seats, cratering ratings, bargain basement playoff tickets. And those empty seats in Indiana are screaming a message the league can't afford to ignore.
But Caitlin Clark was first. You know what would have also put asses in seats? Indiana Fever clearing Caitlin Clark to play the game of basketball. That would have done it. I promise you. I promise you that would have done it. Again, I believe we deserve to know who ordered the code red. It's a lot different if it is Caitlin Clark and her people believe that, and her medical team believe that she could not play. If it was Stephanie White in the Indiana Fever, I believe that changes everything, as far as I'm concerned.
At the end of the day, $9 playoff tickets are more than just a crazy deal. They're a warning sign. They're proof that the WNBA's growth isn't as stable as the league hoped. Caitlin Clark isn't just a star. She's the lifeline. Without her, playoff basketball in Indiana has turned into background noise. Without her, the league's new golden era looks a lot more fragile than anyone wanted to admit. So here's the real question. It's not whether the WNBA can sell $9 tickets. It's whether the WNBA can survive when its golden goose can't fly. Because right now, those empty seats at Gainbridge Fieldhouse are telling the story louder than anyone else can.